Hello, this is Leveler and Just Around the Geek, and welcome to the third episode of the Combinator tutorial. Today we're gonna speak about arithmetic combinators, I guess, and
a little bit.
Yeah.
Although I think mostly we were going to talk about how to get train station status from all your outposts.
Oh, yeah. That's something I have been experimenting with myself, but I need help with it. That's why you are here. And as you see, you will see, but we can demonstrate it, all the power wires running the whole length of the train is wired up with red and green.
So it's just one red and green pair that runs all the way along the rail here, and it just goes forever.
Yes, and I can show you my blueprint. I have made it as a purpose.
Aha!
That,
the copper got a little crazy, but
yep.
The red and green is the important part.
When you build it from a blueprint, and you have the red and green wire built in the blueprint, it doesn't use it from your inventory. I'm sure this will get fixed in the future versions of the game, but as of now, your inventory does not get used.
I think they've actually said that that's intended behavior and that they are not planning to fix that.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure on that. Don't quote me on that one.
No, I mean, but just information that you don't need to have hundreds and hundreds of wire in your pockets when you're.
But yes, bots placing wires is free. Yes. So, shall we hop in this train and head up to one of the outposts?
Yes.
The station's not really built yet because we're just getting this set up. So there's an oil field up here, and one day this oil field will have pump jacks on it, going to a bottling plant that puts everything in barrels, and we'll have a row of chests full of barrels to fill this train with. So we want to see how many barrels we've got in our station here. And so we're going to just throw a few in this chest to pretend that that's our station for now.
Yep, so we'll have 20 oil barrels here.
And all this is a single decider at the station. And you just set it so that when the green wire tells it that you want station number 1, and we're going to use the black square for station numbers.
Yep. I don't understand at the moment, but I guess it will be clear later on.
So this doesn't quite make sense until we build the piece down at the bottom that asks for the individual stations.
Yep.
But it's the same if-then that we built in the previous episodes.
Yep.
So it says if you get a black square, then the other wire here is going to be connected to the chest, and we're going to output everything with whatever input count they had.
Yep.
And so right now it's not getting a square, and so it doesn't do anything. But when it does, it'll output it all, and then we're going to take that output and put it on the red wire that runs down our rails.
Why are you using different colors right now? Is it a specific purpose?
Mostly to keep things from getting crossed over. Right. And so the pair that runs along the rails, the green wire is a request for a station, and the red wire is the report from that station with whatever it's got.
Yeah, it's the return signals.
Yeah.
Just to keep them apart. Yep.
You can do it on a single wire. It gets a little bit messier, and it's a lot harder to explain. And so I'm going to do it with 2.
Yes, that's good. So basically, this station is going to say, "Hey, I'm station number 1. This is what I have right now."
And then the one other thing here with different wires is you see on the input side of this combinator, we've got the green wire from the pair that runs along the rails, and then the red wire from this station. And the reason for that is if I instead were to use the green wire there, then if you go look at the pair that's on the rail, you'll see that it becomes pretty much useless because now those oil barrels are all the way along the rail already when they haven't been asked for yet.
Exactly.
So that's why you have to
I
separate those
understand.
on the input side. And then to
But-
demonstrate this real quick, while we're over here, I'm going to simulate the signal we would get from the central depot down there, and say it asked for station 1 on the green wire.
Oh, and it pulls the data
And
from
then you-
up here down. All this is
And now the red wires have all the data from that station.
exactly.
And then I'm going to pick
But-
that up because that'll make a mess later if we leave that there.
Can I ask? Usually, when you have red and green signals, you have a red or green background on the icons. But, it doesn't show on the decider. Is it only on the
So-
electrical poles?
So on the poles, the red and the green wires stay separate, and so it actually has to display them separately. Once those wires go into any device, combinators, inserters, lamps, whatever you're going to hook up,
Yeah.
it takes both of the wires that are hooked up and adds them all together.
I see.
And then it works on that total set, and so the distinction of red versus green wire is sort of lost at that point. And then when the decider gives an output, it outputs whatever it has generated to both of its output wires, if they're both hooked up.
Yep, I got it.
So that's why there's no color on the signals on devices, only on poles.
Right. So, is this station finished?
Yep. To the degree that it can be finished without actually building out the oil
Is this
mining.
demonstration station finished?
You know somebody's going to call us out on that, for calling that
Yep.
finished. So, and if we go a little bit slower through the interchange here, we can see that it's literally just goes straight through in all 4 directions. Nothing fancy, just wires.
Yep,
all there
so
is
you
to
have Remember to hook everything along the rail up, because if there is a break in the wires, the signal won't get.
Yep. And
passed.
it's not always obvious when you've got a break in the wire when you've got nothing running on those wires yet, like we have right now. But once we set up station 2 here and we go back to the depot, then we'll actually have some active signals on there. And then suddenly it gets really obvious if there's a break in the wire. So do you want to try and build station 2 here?
Oh no, it's better if you do it so the viewers can see. Again,
Alright. Let's see. And I'm going to build it. My mouse really doesn't want to cooperate here. There we go.
And if I want to build one, I will probably check this video again and do it step by step.
Alright. And so I'm actually, over here I'm going to put it right next to the pole. And the reason for that is I can steal power from that same pole.
Yep, we don't waste poles.
Because I'm lazy and I don't want to place another pole. And again, green wire in, red wire out. Red wire, if I can pick up the red wire. And we do the same thing here, and we just set it to black square equals 2 on this one.
Exactly.
Everything.
Because hey, I'm station number 2.
Because this is station number 2. And
And I hooked up the input.
oh, we both hooked it up at the same time.
Oh. Yeah, I lag, so even if you're 2 seconds slower, I guess you're gonna be first.
Yep. And we throw some barrels in this one, and I'm going to make it a different number of barrels, so I'm going to put 24 barrels in here. So I don't remember how many we had at the other one, but I know it was a multiple of 10.
Yep.
And that's all there is to that station. Again, this chest is standing in for whatever we eventually build for the real station here. There's another oil field out here, so it'll be more oil.
Yeah, it will probably be like a setup of like this, and we will read the chest contents instead of this dummy chest.
And if we had, if we had the real station set up, it would just be all of these wired up together. Of course, that's just slightly too far for me to run that directly across.
Yeah, here's a. Yeah, of course, at the same time, great minds.
We're doing that a lot.
Yep.
So, if we had the real station here, you just wire them all up in parallel, and the wire itself adds them all up because that's how it works.
Yep.
And then when you ask for station 2, it reports the total of everything.
Yes. So, let's head back to the...
So now we've got our 2 stations here. So let's head on back to the depot. And...
Shoo. And I guess you could explain your little dot.
Oh yeah.
That we just, the viewers just saw.
Viewers have probably seen the little dots ahead of the train here. What that is I really don't like getting run over. And so I like to know when the trains are coming. And so what I've done is I hit F4 to turn on the debug settings menu, and on the basic tab, I uncheck everything and turn on show train braking distance and show train signals.
Shoo. Oh, it doesn't work in manual mode.
Yeah, it doesn't work in manual mode. It only works for automatic trains. And then F5 toggles the basic thing on and off, so you can actually see that.
Yep.
And so if you start that train, you'll see that there's a little red donut in front of it. Here, let's... I'm going to pull the train forward just a little bit. And then I can tell it to go to...
Refinery intake.
The intake station. And you'll see the little red donut moves away from it as it speeds up. That's the braking distance. And then these red rings around the signals say a train has planned a route here.
Yeah, and I will see if I can have the time.
And so the rings around the signal tell you a train is coming eventually. And then the signals turn yellow and you get the braking distance donut as it comes up. And so if you're working around the tracks, you can see that and not get run over.
That's perfect.
And so, I discovered that some time ago and basically have turned it on in every single game I have played since.
Yeah. So, what's next? Now we get to read, hey, I'm station number 1, and hey, I'm station number 2, and all that.
Yep. So, we've got our 2 stations up there, and we want to read them, but you can really only read them one at a time, because you've only got one set of wires out there.
So we're gonna have a huge something?
So what you're gonna...
Do you know a smart way?
So the way you want to do that is you just want to read them one after another.
Yep.
And hey, that sounds like the clock we built last time.
Oh, so it's gonna cycle through.
So we're gonna make... And I'm gonna make a smaller clock this time. I'm gonna make it do black less than 5. We only have 2 stations, but this gives us some room to grow.
Yep.
And in this case, it's only going to output the black input count it got, not everything. I think I did that last time, I'm not sure. And so we're just going to hook this straight across here, and that makes a clock counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Ah, alright. Can you slow it down in a simple way so the viewers can
sort of.
You
sort of have to build a bigger thing to do that.
Okay, let's keep it that.
I mean, I can make it so that it does one per second if you want.
Nah, let's keep it. Just.
But I basically always do the fast clock because when we're done, you won't really care anymore.
Yep.
And then you just take the output of this clock and you put it on the green wire. And you see that you get basically unreadable signals on the wire bus here.
But if you look in close, you can see the ore and the
barrels. If you read it really, really fast, you can see it.
Yep.
But we can't read that fast.
At least I don't.
I can't either. And so what you need to do is you want to get... My mouse is really not cooperating today. So we want to get the stuff from station number 1.
Oh, so we read black 1.
Let's see here. So we'll say when when black is 1, we get everything here. And
we get the signal from up there showing I got this.
and so
I see.
now, you see, the input is unreadable, and the output is flashing really fast, but because it's the same thing, you can kind of see what it says.
Yep.
But you have to build that separately for each one, and so I sort of do a sort of evil trick here, which I'll probably not explain perfectly, but I'm going to try. Which is, I use a combinator here that is
The arithmetic
combinator that says black minus 1 on black. I can enter that. And so what that does is, because it has no input signal, it makes a -1.
Yes.
And then you can change this combinator and say when black is equal to 0, output everything. And you get your station contents without the black square on it. Which means you can send that down here to a combinator
it's more and more clear.
that says remember everything when you don't get any black. Except that that's going to accumulate forever.
Yeah. We have to reset it somehow.
So now you have to reset it. So you take another one here, and I'm going to copy and paste this, but instead of give you everything when black was 0, you give a reset signal.
Oh, like the clock we did last episode.
Exactly.
Reset that, yep. And up
so
here, I'm guessing too.
So that one actually resets differently. That one resets based on having gone past its threshold.
Okay.
So now we've got the top decider here gives the data you got from the station, and the one below it gives a signal that says, "Hey, here's
Not
new
so
data
much.
for you. It's time to clear out."
Yep.
And so you hook that up down here, but now it's blinking.
Yep.
Now, why is that? That's because combinators are not instantaneous. It takes one game tick for it to go from the input side to the output side.
And there is 60 game ticks per in real life second.
In this case, the actual number of ticks doesn't matter. The problem is that the reset signal and the set signal are coming in at the same time.
Okay.
So what you have to do is, instead of setting it immediately when you get it, you reset when you get it, and then basically anything that delays it. My favorite delay is to use an arithmetic that says take each signal you got and add 0 to it. And we'll talk about the arithmetic in a little more detail once we finish building this.
Yep.
And then you just take the output that's got your data here, and you feed it through that thing, and you put that in the memory down here.
Oh, and now I see it much clearer.
And it's still blinking a little bit,
Yeah.
but it's way clearer. And it turns out that if you take a pole, I'm going to put that one more tile down so you can see where that's connected. And you hook that up to this red wire. On the pole, you get an absolutely perfectly stable signal from station 1.
Yes.
And now the real magic, and this is, so the magic here is this very top -1 combinator.
Yes.
When we want to read station 2, we just blueprint this whole thing, and we lay down another one right next to it. And you only have to hook up 2 wires to make station 2 work.
Where do I hook them up? Is it from the decider up here?
Nope. It's on the arithmetic at the very top of this thing, you hook the output of the first one to the input of the second one, so that now it gets a -2. And then you take the red wire that came down from the main bus and you bring that to the second column.
Right.
And so these columns are identical, and each one you build to the right here is the next station.
Ah, that's really simple.
Uh,
Or it's
and
not
so if you
simple,
then
but,
take if you take the blueprint of both columns here, then you could even skip the manual wiring on subsequent stations, and you just lay down number 3 and 4 and 5. And we don't have any stations reporting these, so they're not blinking. If we had a 3rd, 4th, or 5th station, these would be blinking and show that too.
yeah, it will come.
Uh,
But how about I take the train, and I will remove some
sure.
barrels, and we can see. Maybe you can set up a Nixie tube that shows how many. While
Yeah, let me...
I go up there.
I'm actually going to have to craft a few more. I'm going to use the smaller Nixies just because they will fit better in this space.
Yep.
They work exactly...
Because visuals is always nice when it's electric.
They work a little... They work exactly the same as the big ones. They just have 2 digits each. That's the only difference. And they're 1 by 1 instead of 2 by 1. So just like those, you hook up the rightmost digit and tell it what signal you want it to watch. And now we've got displays here that we have 20 barrels at station 1 and... Oh, that's interesting.
I removed ore.
Yes, and so I don't have anything displaying the ore, but I can mouse over the pole and see that the ore is gone now. And then I see you just removed and then put back the barrels.
And I'm putting them in 1 by 1 now.
I kind of wish we could do a picture-in-picture with like your screen picking that up and putting it down.
Yeah, but I'm dropping in and pulling out, and
Yeah.
I
think everybody can figure out
idea.
what's going on here.
And I will take the train to come back now. Could we have a total number of all barrels waiting, maybe?
So that's actually kind of... let's see. How do we do that without messing up these? It's a little annoying that these are all red wires. So if you actually wanted the total...
Psst, it's 42.
Yeah.
No, we don't need one.
It's actually 44.
Yeah, that's what I said. 44.
You said 42.
Nope.
I have to look at this for a second to think about exactly what I can and can't do, because the quick and dirty way to add these up would actually be just a red wire across here, except that because that's in the memory circuit, that gets real weird real fast.
Yep.
So, the first and foremost...
This will probably be edited.
Yeah, first and foremost, the number one thing that I do with arithmetic combinators, actually, is the same thing I did in the middle here, which is you just add 0 to buffer something. So we take a pair of them here, and we read station 1 on this one, and station 2 on that one. And then I'm just going to make both of these... In fact, I'm going to copy paste buffer one ended up there, so that's just each plus 0 to each.
Yep.
And all that does is that isolates the input circuit from the output circuit. So the quick and dirty hack is you can actually just wire these together and see that because the wire adds things that are the same signal, you get a free total there. But that's not what you wanted to see. So
I want the Nixie, of course.
If you wanted to see, well, I guess I can do that with a Nixie too. So the quick and dirty hack is you take the wire, and the wire adds it up. So each of these combinators here is really just buffering it. It's not actually doing any math with it.
Okay.
And then the wire adds it up because they're the same signal.
Yep.
Or we can take this and say, well, actually, the other really cool thing that arithmetic combinators can do, they can take one signal and put it on another signal. So I can say I want the number of barrels that I got from station 1 on virtual signal 1, and the number of barrels I got from station 2, if I can find barrels in the menu here, on virtual signal 2. And so if we pull this out to the substation here, you'll see now it's got
Station 1 and Station 2.
Yeah, it's got 1 has 20 and 2 has 24. And then I'm going to take that wire back off. And we put that into another one here and say, well, let's take station 1 plus station 2 on the letter O for oil. And it gives us O of 44. And you can pull that out to group of Nixies.
Yeah, I'm following. This is this was the easiest part in my head.
And it gives you that.
Hey,
and then
it
when
counts better than me.
That's really all there
concludes
is.
This episode.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's a good place to cut that.
So we will see you next time.